Alright guys, so today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to an event in Riverside to educate myself a little bit about something that I don't know a whole lot about right now. Now, there's a whole community around us that we know about, but we don't really learn about, and that is the deaf community. My friend Chris and my bestie Caitlin have both been trying to educate me a little bit with their interest on the deaf community. And my friend Chris has actually been trying to teach me a little bit of sign language, but I've already tried that and I'm no good. And I apologize for anybody reading the captions here who is offended by that, but I just don't have a mind to be able to use my hands like that. It's just not in me. I'm sorry. But I do have an interest in learning history. I do have an interest in education. And I do have an interest in trying to make sure that I am not walking around offending anyone, being unaware of anyone's needs, or treating people in a way that is insensitive. So I want to make sure that today I go, learn something new, and in the future educate myself so that way I can respect and understand the deaf community. That being said, we are going to have a video about the deaf community in November. It's going to be a little skit involving the interaction and the coming to knowledge with a deaf person. I don't know if I'll be able to actually get a deaf person, but I'm definitely going to find an ASL student or a interpreter to come and be in the movie as a deaf person. If I can't find the authentic article, I'd really like the authentic article though, because there's nothing quite as real as the real thing. That just makes sense to me. So we'll see what happens with that. But here we go, guys. We are going to go down to Riverside at City Hall, at Admission Inn, and we are going to learn something new. Alright guys, we just got off the freeway here in downtown Riverside, and we're heading towards City Hall, where the event is taking place. I have to look now for parking. I don't know if I have to pay for it or if it's free, how much parking there will be. It looks like there's a few spots already here. So we're going to go ahead and pull in a little farther and see what we can find. Alright guys, so I made it here without any problems. Parking was fairly easy to find, and it's not terribly crowded over here. There's a lot of different groups represented. There's a lot of interesting things going on. All the speakers I've seen so far all have interpreters, so it's been interesting to see them talk, and the interpreters copy using ASL so the deaf community here can hear.
The business community is working hard to be more understanding and more communicative with the deaf community. We are here today partly to recognize some of those businesses. These are the ones that were selected for this year. There are others that also are working hard to do a better job.
Now, something I think is interesting is every day we go around and we know that there's disabled people, without legs, without arms, without sight. But I think one of the most overlooked groups in our community is the deaf community, and I want to raise awareness today by being at this event and by filming some of this, so that way you can kind of see that this is not a small thing. This is a large group of people who all care about each other and want to educate each other so that they can be better in our community and so that their community can be better for them. So enjoy the footage I'm about to show you, and hopefully you learn something. You ever had that moment where you just realize you really don't know that much? That's me right now. I'm over here at the food carts and I'm talking to people who know ASL who hear, and they're trying to teach me how to sign, and I am having a very difficult time with it. And I was thinking, like, I don't really want to learn how to sign. But that's kind of like someone saying they don't want to learn English. It's like you want people to communicate with you, but you don't want to make the effort to communicate with other people. So I think it's time that I actually start learning some basic sign language. But hopefully I can do it with a little bit of comfort, because right now I'm insanely awkward because it's like speaking a foreign language and I don't want to offend anybody by saying the wrong thing. Now, in order to face my fear, I wanted to take a moment to really get educated, and so I talked to Chris and I asked him to help me find somebody that I could interview with a few basic questions that I had to better inform myself about how I can handle learning about the deaf community and how I can handle communicating with members of the deaf community. So what you're about to see next is that interview. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. James.
JD.
Nice to meet you, JD. It's an interesting event we have here today, and I'm trying to educate some of my followers. I don't have that many, but hopefully the few that are watching can be educated a little bit today on the deaf community and your side as well as an interpreter.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd be interested to know if there's any specific focus for you today being here at this event.
Well, my focus would be more on just trying to help others that, such as yourself, that may not know the language. It's really interesting just to see their satisfaction on their face of like, oh, thanks, like you just helped me out today with somebody that has that frustration of like, okay, I need to know,
Yeah.
And that's how I was beforehand, where before I even started community college, that I absolutely knew nothing. But I see deaf people everywhere, and I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty language to learn, And then after, so much I've learned, it's like, okay, thank God I did that. So it's really, for me, just to have a goal of just trying to do that.
Okay. Now, not to be too personal, but is there a specific reason or motivation for you being involved in this?
Because it helps others, and I am that example for my niece, and being the only college graduate of my whole family.
Congratulations.
So it pushes me that much more just to kind of do that.
Awesome. So. All right. Well, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and get into your questions. I'm not sure how busy you are today, so we'll try and just hop right through them, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. My first question for you today is: I know nothing about the deaf community at all. What is the one thing that I should be aware of while I begin to communicate with someone who might be deaf?
While you try to do that, and if you do have an interpreter with you, always look at the deaf person, no matter what.
Okay.
If you're talking to the interpreter and be like, oh, tell her this, you're in a way excluding the deaf person, and in a way it's like offending.
Okay.
So you always want to have that eye contact with the deaf person, and always have that patience with them as much as they're giving you their patience.
Okay.
So have that mutual respect for each other as well, and try to have as much understanding as you can.
Okay. All right. The second question for today is: at today's event, what do you think should be the main focus for someone like myself as I try to become educated?
To always, let's see, because there's like many things you could possibly like try to take in for yourself. But always try to be open-minded.
Okay.
Because I know that a lot of people are just like, that's a sticky stubborn. You know what I mean? So, just try to have that in mind, and always try to have, like, learn the basics.
Okay.
If you want to learn, like, to hold a conversation with a deaf person, obviously we always encourage you to take ASL classes, but if anything, if you just want to know just like the little basics and, things like that, just, you can always look online. There's always YouTube for that kind of stuff, and just to be like, oh, hi, my name is this, because it's always good to know at least the little bit compared to like, okay, I don't know anything.
Okay. That's pretty good advice. Thank you. My last question is, as I begin to meet members of the deaf community, is there anything that most people do that can be interpreted as offensive, and should I avoid doing anything with my hands?
Oh gosh, there's a lot.
Is there like one or two big things?
A lot. Try to, when you are trying to talk to a deaf person and they're trying to say like try to talk to you, and then you're just like looking somewhere else, and you don't have that eye connection, they're gonna think like, oh, okay, this person doesn't care.
Okay.
So when they're trying to hold a conversation with you, like I'm trying to have a conversation with you now, you can be totally gazing somewhere else, but you can hear me.
Yeah.
But with a deaf person, it's like you need that eye contact.
Okay.
So that's very important for them, and to always nod your head that you're agreeing or you understand. So.
Okay, just for myself, because I wear sunglasses a lot, is that something that can be a problem?
A little bit, just because they need to see a bit of your eyebrow, and they might be like, okay, is this person looking at me or what?
Okay, cool. Well, that's very good too, because I'm always wearing them, so that's something that's very helpful for me.
So maybe
to keep in mind.
when you're wearing them, just be like, okay. Once you're finished, okay, put them back on.
All right, very good. Now, last but not least, since we're done with all my questions, is there a specific group you're here with today that you'd like to represent?
Yes, my interpreting class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's that from?
RCC.
RCC?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for doing this. I know I'm not a huge YouTuber or anything, but at least this helps people who do watch this to be a little more informed.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, I am back at home now from the event in Riverside, and I have to say, I knew nothing about the deaf community. And I had a big slice of humble pie along with that revelation. I got an interview, which you already saw, and after that I got to speak with an actual deaf individual and kind of asked a few questions and do some basic communication. It was difficult. I felt like I was in another world. I felt like I was on another planet almost, and everything just felt really foreign. I think that is going to be the point of this video, because I want to point out that these people who can't hear, are all around us. They're part of our community. They're our brothers, they're our sisters, they're our cousins, they're our friends. And half of the time, most of the people I know ignore it. Of course, you can't ignore it if you're related to somebody, but, if you have friends who are deaf or friends of friends who are deaf, you always kind of keep your distance. Like, that's what I've noticed with the people that I know for the most part, with the exception to one of my old teachers, my friend Chris, and my bestie Caitlin. 3 people in my life, just right at the top of my head that I can remember, that actually interact with the deaf community. I think that's kind of sad. Because it's one thing if we're going to a foreign country and learning a new language. And yes, the deaf community does have its own language. They have the sign language. But they're Americans, guys. They're right next door to us. They're all around us every day. And this is a real example. How do you feel when somebody comes up to you and starts speaking in a foreign language? Like, I don't know about you, but it annoys me. If they're from another country, they come to America and they don't speak English, it annoys me. And I'm just being honest with you, and I'm sorry if I offend you, but that's how I feel. Imagine how it is when you have a deaf individual who can't hear you, and you go up to them and start talking to them, and they're trying to understand you, but you don't understand that they're deaf, first of all, and second of all, you don't understand sign language to at least basically communicate that you want to talk to them and tell them what you want to tell them. I don't know. I just think it's really sad how disconnected I felt today, and how ignorant I felt today, and how, like I said, these are our next door neighbors. These are people all around us, and we don't have a single clue half the time how to get along, how to communicate, and something about that just strikes me as wrong. And so I want to challenge you at the end of this vlog here. I want to challenge you to go and just look at basic ASL. And I'm going to attach some links below for some basic ways you can start. And I just want you to learn how to say hello, thank you, nice to meet you, stuff like that. And I can't do all the signs because I am holding my camera here, but they're not as hard as I thought they would be to start learning, and I was able to have a very, 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 very basic conversation today with an entirely deaf individual. And I felt so dumb that I could not talk to him the way that I wanted to talk to him, and that other people had to speak for me through sign language. And I know if I had just met him on the street, I wouldn't be able to communicate with him. And that's an entire person, that's an entire world that I'm missing out on. There's entire stories that you can never know because you can't communicate with, the deaf individuals in our community. So I want to challenge you to go learn that, just basic stuff. You don't have to go all the way through and get a college degree, but just go look up some basic ASL so you can talk to your brothers and sisters around you and maybe learn something new. Maybe find out something new about yourself. This vlog for me has been extremely educational, and I really want to do it because it was an opportunity for me to learn something new. And instead of learning something new, I learned how much I don't know, which made me want to learn something new. So this has really been an eventful vlog for me. It's really been a challenging vlog for me, and I hope for you guys it is too. I don't know what to say because I'm still flustered over today. It's been a wonderful day. It's been an educational day, but it's also been a reality check. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start researching this stuff on my own. I challenge you to do it so you can open up yourself to entire universes you didn't know existed. I want you to go ahead and learn ASL, at least the basics, so you can go forward and not limit your intense future. We're always looking forward. We're always learning new things. We're always looking in future tense. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. Thank you guys for joining me on another vlog from In Future Tense. It's always exciting to share my life with you, and I hope you'll join me again next time. If you like what you saw, please go ahead and click subscribe or the like button. And if you didn't like what you saw, please feel free to leave some feedback down below in the comment section so I can try and improve my content to make it more interesting and more suited to what you're looking for. We're all moving forward. Let's have an intense future.